XRP appears to be breaking out, meaning it has been below this trend line, and it's also mostly been below this line of resistance here for months and months and months, and now it is having a big breakout here. Now let's look even closer. So if we go to the 4-hour time frame, we are making, let's zoom in here. We are making a higher low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low, another higher low, and we're making a higher high now. This is a very bullish position. Okay, and I mean, yeah, this is looking very, very good. If we look at previous breakouts, we got stopped here. This was at $2.65. We've already surpassed that. And if we look at a previous breakout attempt back here, this was in March at $3, we have just gone above $3. All right, we are just barely poking above that level right now. Yeah, as you can see, we have gotten to $3.04. All right, so that's looking very good. I mean, if we look at previous times in history, also, you look at this little yellow line here, we see that we have gotten a, we corrected down, but we are now heading back up. So this is on the daily, this is a swing, a much higher low here on the daily swing. And when we've done that in the past, we have continued up. So in the past, when we've had a breakout and we get a confirmed higher low on the daily swing chart, so right here, we head back up. And especially when we poke above the previous swing high, right here, we continue higher up. And then once again here, we get a higher low and we break out above this previous swing high right here. We are breaking up again. And typically it doesn't just get rejected. Like right around here, it doesn't just like correct back down again. It goes off like a rocket ship. So that is looking very good. The fact that we're above $3 right now, it's looking very good. And on top of that, we obviously already have Bitcoin that has already broken out into new all-time highs. We have Ethereum that is showing a lot of strength right now. And we'll see if Ethereum gets resistance. Man, yeah, Ethereum is looking really good as well. So, I mean, historically, XRP breaks out when Ethereum breaks out. We could actually look at that if you want to. So we go to the XRP chart. Then we pull up Ethereum in the background. And I'll make this easier to see. So typically when Ethereum breaks out into a new all-time high, then XRP breaks out. So let's see back here. So we look at the pink line, which is Ethereum. So Ethereum arguably broke out into a new all-time high in, I believe, February 2021. Right here. And that was around the time when XRP had its major breakout. And same thing back here. I mean, when Ethereum, we'll have to zoom in here. Ethereum, the pink line there, when Ethereum really broke out here, it started breaking out. Then soon after, a couple weeks after, XRP has a crazy run. I mean, this was just more than 1,000% pump. Who was investing in crypto back in the day? I was. All the way back in 2017, exciting times. But now, I mean, Ethereum still has not gotten its major breakout in this cycle. I mean, so the all-time high for Ethereum was right here, but Ethereum is still sitting right here. But the fact that Ethereum is starting to break out is quite bullish, and that's what the altcoins arguably have been waiting for. That's what the altcoins want to see, is particularly when Ethereum breaks out of this trend line right here. I could make this more bold to emphasize that. When we break out of that level for Ethereum, then yeah, I mean, the rest of the market, the XRP, the rest of the altcoins could do really well. So that's around 3850. Oh, wait. Actually, no, that's around 3600 for Ethereum. But then even more, if we can break out above 4,100, then we're going to see a massive, massive parabolic run for the altcoins. But in the meantime, XRP is one of the strongest coins right now. We'll clean up this chart real quick. And so XRP is starting to break out already before Ethereum makes an all-time high. So, I mean, XRP is one of the stronger coins in this cycle. Looking very, very good. And if we go to XRP versus Bitcoin, this is XRP valued versus the price of Bitcoin instead of the price of the US dollar. It's valued in the price of Bitcoin. We're getting a bit of a breakout here as well. You see this yellow 21-week moving average. And when we are above the yellow line up here, we're in a very bullish position, but when we're below it, things are much more weak. We are finally, since April, we are finally breaking above this yellow moving average line again, and it looks like we're getting a very strong move so far. And if we zoom in, we had a interesting breakout right here, but it got rejected. But we've gotten each day we've been heading up and up and up. We've been getting higher daily closes, and we just broke above this line right here. So we zoom in there. So that's good. We're continuing to get higher highs and higher lows. So we just broke out above this line here. That's looking really good. And even on, if we go to the weekly scale, I mean, the weekly, we closed right around that yellow line. So we do want to close this week above that yellow line. That would be extremely bullish. So we have, like 5 more days for that. So we do have some time to wait for a confirmation potentially. But on the RSI, we're getting this is really good. We're getting bullish divergence. So ever since June of last year, wow. Ever since June of last year, we've been getting higher low. Let's see. So ever since here, we've been getting a higher low here and another higher low here. That's what we want to see. We're getting higher lows, higher lows. That is bullish divergence. Let's bold this trend line here. Oh man, that's looking really good. And we're getting this beautiful breakout up, which we love to see. All right, so now for the astrology lovers, for those who believe in the power of astrology, we are going to dive into that. For those who hate astrology, then you might not want to see this. But for the skeptics, I urge you to watch and just see what we have to see here. Although this time I didn't see any, okay, I'll tell you what I see here. We have Jupiter opposing the XRP Pluto, which typically, it can be negative. This is happening in 2 days. That's really interesting because that's the same day we have Mercury retrograde. So we could actually get a correction on July 18th. So maybe we'll break out in the next couple days. Really interesting that we have that on the 18th. But this can also signify an explosive move. So Jupiter opposing Pluto. Pluto can bring absolutely explosive moves. So that's really interesting. It doesn't say which direction, just looking at the astrology. But the fact that we're looking so bullish right now, at least on the daily chart for XRP, shows that we could get an explosive move to the upside. That is looking beautiful. And what else do we have here? We have Jupiter trining the XRP Chiron. Slight positive there. Let's see what other majors. I mean, we get a bunch of positives. All of these transits are positive from at the end of July into the early August, so that's good. And then we get Jupiter sextiling the XRP Mars on August 18th, so we could even continue this pump until August 18th. It's interesting. And then we get another positive September 7th, but that is, I mean, it's possible that we continue pumping until then, but major concern is the total lunar eclipse on the 7th of September. So I personally will be taking profits before then, very likely. That's my plan. So this is based on the XRP chart for Genesis block June 2nd, 2012. But since almost nobody is sure exactly when the start date of XRP was, I have a second chart, which is December 21st of 2012 in New York. So I like to check this chart as well to see what we can see. We do have Pluto sextiling the XRP ascendant. That is in effect still. That's quite positive. But this is surprising. We have Uranus squaring the XRP Neptune on July 28th. That's not good for astrology. So that's interesting we get that negative. It's kind of confusing. On July 28th. So maybe if we get a breakout, maybe it's not going to go as high as people were hoping. You know, maybe it breaks out to $4 or $5 or something like that. When people are hoping for like $10, $12. Oh, here we go. So this is Jupiter trining the XRP Saturn, which is very positive. And this is in effect until July 22nd. So that could signal a breakout for the next 6 days easily. And then we get this Jupiter opposing the XRP Pluto, just like the other chart, on the 19th, signaling possibly an explosive move. Okay. Very interesting. Then we get a few positive minor transits towards the end of the July. We'll take that. We'll take what we can get here. But then getting closer to September, Saturn squaring the XRP Sun on August 28th. So that's concerning. I would probably be taking profits second half of August. But I'll have to keep you all updated with how much profits, you know, whether it's like 30% profits, 50%, or, you know, if XRP is at like $9, I'll probably take out all of my profits. That's just my plan. Jupiter is also squaring the XRP moon on August 28th, slight negative there. So slight negatives before September. Okay, so the astrology for XRP is, you know, it's not 100% accurate, but it can give us hints at times. So, you know, we're looking at the price chart. We're seeing hints of a breakout, potentially the initial moments of a breakout. You know, we zoom in, we can go to the 1 hour. Yeah, the fact that we're just poking, you know, we take a look at this level right here at $3.03, and we just poked above that at $3.04. It's making at least an initial higher high here. That's what we want to see, and we're getting higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher low, higher low, higher, all the way up here, and it's accelerating. This is, you know, just like a rocket ship that's taking off, and we are just starting to get liftoff. So let's continue to keep our eyes on this chart in the next like 24 hours and see if we can get liftoff here. You know, when the moment that rocket's just leaving the ground. All right, so super excited, guys. I did buy a little bit more XRP. It's, yeah, I love XRP. It's doing well. It's one of my bigger bags here. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Is this a breakout here? Oh, here we go. Let's see what we got. What comments we got. How do you cast an event chart for XRP since the Genesis block was mysteriously corrupted? Well, that's why I have 2 different charts, and we just do our best with what we can, the information that we can get as best as we can possibly do. Let me know in the comments what you guys think the accurate Genesis block is. How do you think the incoming Mercury retrograde will affect the crypto space? We could get a little dump. I actually did a really deep dive into Mercury retrograde analysis and how it affects Bitcoin and how it affects altcoins throughout the last, 12 years or so for the lifespan of Bitcoin. Although most altcoins, have not been around since Bitcoin was started in 2009. But I did a super deep dive training call that I recorded in my Crypto Astro Mastermind. And you can get instant access to that by signing up by clicking the link below and typing in the coupon code to get an amazing deal for the next couple weeks here. So I did a super deep dive into that. There could be a potential, there could be a little dump on Mercury retrograde on the 18th, but I'm not super concerned. In the training that I did, I went into much detail into the next month, how specifically Mercury retrograde could affect crypto. And it was very, very fascinating, especially considering the association with Leo in the 5th house of speculation. Yeah. And so we got Mercury retrograde in Leo in 2018, and we got a pump and a dump. Just a hint there. But I went into much more detail in that training. Go XRP, yes. I personally think taking profits before the eclipse might be a mistake considering the talent trine that's perfecting on September 9th, involving all generational planets and air in the fire. Well, that's fine. That's your decision. About 80-90% of the time we get a major dump on the total lunar eclipses, so I'm a bit more cautious. Yes, thank you very much. Will it reach up to $3.15 or past that? I think it will pass that. That's just my opinion. We could get to $3.40. The next stop would be probably $4, and we'll see if it can get past $4. We'll have to wait for that. But man, the fact that we've been consolidating, this, how many months or let's see how long. We've been stuck in a range really since let's see, when was this? Since December. So for about 7 months, we've been hanging out here. 225 days. That's a pretty good amount of time for consolidation for the price to be building out a base to, shoot up to the next level. If we could do this for fun. Okay, so if we take from this peak that we had back in January to this low we have down here, and this low was April 7th when we had the Trump tariffs. Let's do a Fibonacci, and then we'll look at these levels. This Fibonacci level's above. So the next stop, wow. Could even get to 450, but first we'd have to get past $4. And then after that, man, $6.29. $8 and then $9. So that, that's, we could get to 9 maybe by the end of the bull run. Maybe that's towards the end of this year. Maybe that even heads into next year. But man, this is looking really good. We could even make it to $4.50. We'll see. The only problem is the Fed still has not cut rates, and they're still targeted to continue to pause. Maybe it is possible to break out into new all-time highs if the Fed still pausing. That is certainly possible. But I know that the markets are largely waiting for Fed to cut rates, which, at least in 2021, sent us into a ridiculous major parabolic crypto bull run. So there's still a chance that crypto's waiting on the Fed to cut rates, but Bitcoin still broke out into new all-time highs, and so we're still looking quite bullish. XRP could easily head to $4, I would think, and maybe even $4.50. Looking good, but none of this is financial investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You got to make your own investment decisions. Crypto is very risky. Yeah, so make their own decisions. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And I will see you on the next video. Peace.